So let's get this thing started. Welcome to this live session. For the people that haven't joined us yet, we're doing these live sessions daily with different guests in which we talk about sustainability. Some of them are in Spanish and some of them are in English. The range of topics is very broad. Earlier this week we were talking with Raquel from Zero Plast about ways to reduce plastic in our lives. Yesterday we had a very interesting conversation with Jay Keel of Grupo Punta Cana about worm composting and much more. And so today we're going to be talking about moringa. And for those that haven't heard about moringa yet, it's an incredible tree, also referred to as the miracle tree. I've been working with the moringa tree for the last 6 years, mostly in Haiti within the framework of reforestation. And today we're going to be talking with a guest, a good friend of mine named Ben-Yam Barshi. He's an entrepreneur, exotic fruit lover, tree planter, and he has a company that focuses on... Can you guys hear me, by the way? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. What's up, Ben? Can you hear me?
Hey, guys. Everyone can hear me?
Great. Nice. Looks like you're in the jungle, Ben.
Yeah, it's nice to have a backyard and not live in the city, although your backyard looks pretty cool.
Right. Nice. So I just briefly explained what these live sessions are about. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm stoked to be talking about this topic that I know you're excited about. And actually, Benjamin is the very guy that got me into Moringa. Maybe, what was it, 5, 6, 7 years ago? A while ago. So maybe to get this thing started, Ben, can you just give a very brief introduction as to who you are and tell a little bit about some of the projects that you're involved with? Of course, Moringaia, a little bit about the farm and any other projects, just briefly.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot for having me on here. It's an awesome project you got going on. I started working with plants when I got into permaculture about 7 years ago. And now it's been 6 years that I'm applying a lot of this knowledge in lots of different ways, working on organic cacao farms, developing a cosmetic line based with moringa oil. Just, you know how we like to do it. We get involved in everything we can while we can to try to make as much impact as possible and bring the world closer to a permaculture reality.
Yeah. Nice. So as I pointed out, I remember like a few years ago when you basically approached me like with this request, like, hey Chris, I have this thing going on with Moringa, and I met some people from the United Nations in Haiti, and they'd love to do a project. Is there any way we can do something? And can you give a little bit of background to the story before we dive into what Moringa is? Just a little bit about how did you get into Moringa? How did you learn about it? And how did this all start for you?
I first heard about it from really excited farmers in the area. There was a lot of buzz going around Moringa at the time as the new cure-all medicine that everybody knew about, because in the campo they've been using it, what turns out to be, for close to 200 years. The local name for it is La Flor de Libertad, or the flower of liberty, and it was brought to the island. Urban legend has it a while ago to combat yellow fever, which was a virus that was wiping out the population. So it's interesting that this medicine is still around. The people in the campos are still using it, particularly for what's called pecho apretado, or tightness of the chest, as a direct translation. But the way this all started is I volunteered in a permaculture project in Ansapit in Haiti, on the border with Pedernales. And over there, we noticed that moringa trees were growing like weeds everywhere, but they had no economical value. So people were still burning down all the trees in their area to produce charcoal, just to try to make some money. And we thought we could create a sustainable alternative to that unfortunate way that things turn out. So we started buying seeds from the locals and selling them at nurseries. But we noticed that the impact wasn't as big or as strong as we would have liked it. So we looked at value adding to those seeds, and we discovered that the oil had incredible properties. And that branched into the whole Moringaia project, which is a skincare line, a beauty line based on moringa oil. And the way it works is because this plant is considered one of the most nutritious plants known to mankind. So it's an honor to be working with it and to help spread the gospel. And it's so exciting that you dove deep into the subject as well.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that little bit of context. And as I pointed out, like right after you did that permaculture project and when you contacted me, you know, in the end, we ended up doing a project with Moringa in Haiti. And one of the first things we ended up doing was this Moringa study, basically, you know, which was a bit of an overview of what is Moringa, what are the different properties of Moringa, and how could we grow this amazing tree here in the DR and in Haiti, basically, within the context of deforestation, reforestation. And so we'll link all of those resources once we put up this live session on our blog later. So don't worry, you're gonna not miss out. But during the research, yeah, I learned a ton of incredible stuff about the properties. Right? You mentioned the seeds, of course. So the seeds are used to press a certain oil, basically, which you can use for skincare. And so the use of this oil goes back to the ancient Egyptians. If you read it up on the internet and everything, so they already found out about the seeds. You know, it's very it has certain properties. I think it has high levels of oleic acid, so it really penetrates the skin really well and hydrates the skin. And then the leaves. So basically, every part of this tree can be used, right? And so originally, it's from the northern part of India, and then it's kind of spread out all over the world. And I don't know if you want to go into a little bit of the other properties, the leaves and the flowers that you're familiar with. And
yeah, I'd be happy to. There's a lot of it that, you know, out here in the woods, in the fields, in the campos, away from hospitals, people still have to rely on plants to heal a lot of the illnesses they're encountered with. So it's interesting that you see in the most remote villages, in the most humble home, a giant moringa tree that they use for making tea. And they use the flowers in a tea for different fevers and also for stomach problems. And the leaves have an incredible amount of water-soluble nutrients. And the seeds have a lot of oil-soluble nutrients. So together with the leaf and the seeds, you got a really nutritionally dense plant that has so much different applications, not only for eating, but also really interesting things like being able to purify water with the seeds. So the seeds have a coagulating effect that's able to separate bacteria and solids from water. And I personally believe it has a similar effect on our bodies, that it's helped to remove impurities and nourish your cells. And as you were mentioning, oleic acid is a single chain fatty acid. It's a very simple, basically component of an oil. A coconut oil is polysaturated, so it's a very complex molecule. But oleic acid, being the most common simple oil in the human body, it's something that our bodies actually use all the time. Our cells convert oleic acid to ATP, which is the energy source of the cell. So a well-energized cell keeps it alive and functioning properly. And I think some of the anti-aging effects that they're famous for, that Moringa is famous for, comes from actually reviving your cells.
right. Yeah, super interesting. And like you said, I mean, this is the beauty of this tree, really, right? I mean, first of all, like it grows extremely fast. So for example, within the context of Haiti, right? So talking about the project we've been doing there, reforestation, it's an extremely tough tree. It can grow almost anywhere. So I mean, even in very dry, arid areas, it doesn't need good soil at all. It's extremely resilient.
I've seen it grow on dust and coral.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's growing like a weed in some of the worst conditions.
Exactly. And so the reason why this is amazing, especially also within, let's say, in the context of like food insecurity or massive degradation, is that it doesn't have to compete with good agricultural soils, right? That they can use for other crops to feed themselves as well. So you can grow it in very degenerated land, basically, and then use it as a step in the process of regenerating that land, right? So that's the first thing. It can grow almost anywhere. And then once you plant it, either from seed or from a staka, from a cutting, it's just incredible, right? I like last year or maybe 2 years ago now, I took a couple of cuttings home, and maybe a cutting, 2-inch thick cutting of 1 meter, 3 foot. and I literally just plugged it into the ground. And within 8 months, and I'm not exaggerating, I had like a 7, 8 meter tall tree, right? So that's like what, 25-foot tree, incredible, right? So it grows extremely fast. So when we talk about, reforestation, that's very interesting. But then on top of that, you can harvest very fast too, because it responds really well to pruning, basically, right? So if you're going for the leaves, which have a lot of nutritional properties, sorry, you can harvest those basically, right? And then within the first few months after planting, you can already have your first um, harvest of leaves at least, and it will keep growing back, right?
I think everybody should be growing moringa and making fresh moringa salads, juicing moringa in their green juices, making moringa soup. Uh, it's one of the easiest things to grow, and like you said, the fastest things to grow, with the biggest reward for your health and just for making your whole body work better. It almost feels like you see better, hear better, smell better when you eat moringa because your senses are sharpened. I find.
Right. And so just a disclaimer, neither Ben-Yam or I are doctors or professional, medical experts or anything like that. We're speaking
We just
from,
love
whatever research we have done and direct first-hand experience, having both grown it and used it for a long time. And hey, by the way, you see Juan here. He was there yesterday as well during our worm composting session. Welcome, Juan. So anyway, just a little disclaimer. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of both anecdotal evidence and more also like properly medical scientific evidence that you can find online. And again, a lot of that I've quoted in the Moringa study that I will also link in the resources of the blog that I will upload this video in. And so just to go into a few more of these properties, like it's really, so you mentioned the seeds, but the leaves, for example, what we've been doing in Haiti with those is harvest the leaves, dry them, grind them, and turn them into a food supplement, basically a powder, right? That we export. And so this leaf powder contains vitamin A, B, C, iron, calcium, potassium, magnesium, and it has pretty high levels of protein as well, plant-based protein. So it's really pretty complete package, right? And so as a supplement, it's really an incredible plant, as you point out. And I agree with what you're saying. I think it's always good to prepare and consume the plant in different ways, right? So obviously you can just eat it fresh, and it has this kind of almost like spicy flavor, right? A bit like it's also called the horseradish tree for a reason, of course.
Well, that's
but then, of course, boil it, and you can basically prepare like you would with a spinach almost,
I was going to say that spiciness is actually a type of mustard oil that's found in a lot of horseradishy type of plants. And it has a lot of positive effect on opening the bronchioles and helping people breathe, which is, again, one of the main reasons this plant is used in the fields, is to help with tightness of chest.
Right, and this is an interesting, you mentioned this before, and it's very interesting because before we started this live session, you sent me an article that I hadn't read yet, which was actually published over 10 years ago already. But it basically attributes certain properties to the powder that you can grind from the seed kernel, so the inside of the seed. And basically, like you say, it reduces not only tightness of chest, but people that have problems with asthma, for example, it reduces some of their symptoms, right? So shortness of breath and gasping for air and stuff like that, which of course
especially
and coughing, exactly. And so then again, that we'll link that study to the article here. But very, very interesting, especially also within the context of this coronavirus situation that's going on. That more than anything, the worst symptoms are the respiratory symptoms. And again, we're not physicians here, we're not medical doctors, but it is definitely something interesting to consider, especially given the prevalence of moringa, which grows everywhere.
If you're looking at the three main symptoms of corona, it's fever, coughing, and shortness of breath. So if we can at least show people a plant that can help with shortness of breath and coughing, I think the fever can be more easily managed. Just in the worst case scenario, you never know when a plant in your garden could save someone's life. I think it's better to do the research and to draw your own conclusions. But according to the study we're talking about, there's no negative side effects from ingesting those moringa seeds. So at least there's that benefit.
Right. Yeah, and one thing that I have read myself in while doing the study is that I mean, you're completely correct about the moringa seeds. And with regards to the leaves, I mean, one of the things that people always ask, you know, in terms of nutrition, like what is the daily recommended amount? And I think there's still some research lacking. Basically, there's not like a fixed amount. It's used as a supplement. But for example, it's used also the leaves and also the seed cake, the sort of leftover once you press the seeds into the oil. There's some research there, and basically there seems to be a curve. So initially, for example, cows that were fed moringa, they were growing, getting stronger, and growing like significantly larger than cows that weren't fed with moringa leaves. Then beyond a certain point, like you wouldn't want to have a diet of just 100% moringa leaves. Basically, it was really as a
Absolutely.
supplement.
The study that we're talking about was feeding people 3 grams of seeds a day, which is about 5 seeds, for a period of 3 weeks. And it alleviated a lot of symptoms of chronic asthma patients. So we don't know what that means in today's context. There's still experimenting to do, but I always encourage people try to look for a plant-based solution to their food and medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So just out of curiosity, I mean, it seems like you're in a garden there. Do you have any moringa right there near you or not? Just curious. Because
Yeah, there's the little guy right here. I don't know if you see him.
yeah, maybe point your phone down a little bit more. There you
Yeah.
go. So for everyone that's curious, you know, where moringa grows, it pretty much grows anywhere. Like you'll find it in the city once you recognize it. So that's the leaf. And once you recognize the leaf and the pods, they're like these seed pods. You'll just see them everywhere. I have a couple in my street, and you know, like I said, so you can collect the seeds. You can even use them just like that, you know, as a supplement. The leaves as well. And if the branches are thick enough, you can even take a cutting and literally just plant it. But if you collect some of the seeds and put them in jars, just sprinkle them in your garden, it will pop up almost like a weed, you know.
Have
So
you ever
it grows almost everywhere.
have you ever tried eating the fresh pods when they're skinny and they don't have a lot of fiber? They're delicious. They're like the best green beans you can cook. I know that in India they sell it like a vegetable more
Right,
than a supplement. You know, we're
right.
still scratching the surface of everything this plant has to offer. And we didn't even talk about the real benefits of the oil or anything else like that. There's just so much to talk about.
Right. Yeah, no, I haven't tried the fresh beans, and I should. I don't know why actually. Like I know it's considered a delicacy in India and that part of the world. So these are like kind of like almost like long green beans when you see them like that, but that's when they're fresh and young. I have tried the seeds when they're already a bit more dry. Actually, there's a video on my personal account that I'll see if I can link once we upload this talk to our blog. I think it's called Growing Moringa in Santo Domingo in the streets, or called Harvesting Moringa Seeds in Santo Domingo, or something like that. And we're trying a seed, and it's very interesting. We chew on it, and it's like initially like, oh, it's kind of normal, and then you get this funny sensation. The flavor is kind of funny and very spicy.
Very
And
bitter.
after that, when we wanted to kind of rinse our mouths and we had a glass of water, the water was full on sweet, like sugar water almost. So that's an interesting thing as well. I'd love to
I
see if
haven't
there's anything.
seen any research about that phenomenon, but it happens to everybody. And some
Right,
people, if they don't have a glass of water, after a while, their spit starts tasting sweet. So we really have no idea what's going on.
right. And so, yeah, just for the people that just joined, so Ben-Yam is a good friend of ours. He works a lot with tropical plants and trees. He has a farm, but he also has a company called Moringaia that specializes in moringa-based products, different type of moringa oils and skincare products. And so we're just kind of talking about moringa and its different incredible properties and all the reasons why it's called the miracle tree in other parts of the world. Another thing that I found out about moringa, which is interesting, also I'm interested also in things like agroforestry and regenerative agriculture, is that the leaves of the moringa, you can actually make a liquid fertilizer with them. So you would kind of just stew them in a bucket of cold water and a big barrel to stuff it with the leaves, and then apply it as a liquid fertilizer. And it's documented to have a sort of natural growth hormone. So you can actually find studies that are mentioned in the study that I did, where they've actually tried this liquid fertilizer of moringa leaves, or moringa leaf tea, let's say, and it resulted in significantly higher crops of beans and corns and stuff like that. And this is very interesting, also something to consider, you know, doing more research into. And
Absolutely.
similarly, another thing that I've noticed is that I never see moringa. I don't see any pests or plagues on the tree ever. I don't know if you've ever
The
seen one
mustard,
yourself.
it's the mustard oil in it. That's what I was gonna tell you, that in I don't remember which country they started using the moringa leaf extract as a pesticide as well, as an organic pesticide. So it functions as a um, fertilizer and pesticide in one shot.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Hey, what's up, Callum? Spirited Words just joining us. Um, yeah, exactly. So I think that's an incredible, another property, right? I use it also to mulch whatever I have in surplus that I can't harvest. I just mulch it and, like you say, just let it decompose and it just protects the soil and breaks down, right? So, um, yeah, just out of curiosity, so maybe for the people that have just joined, can you go a little bit into a bit more detail as to the products that you guys? I don't know what's going on here. We have like I don't know if you hear that, but there's like some kind of
The fire people are coming. Ambulance.
yeah, or an ambulance. I'm not sure what's going on. But could you go a little bit more into the products that you guys have, the line of products
Absolutely.
where people can find them
So
also, and
it all started with that reforestation initiative that we talked about trying to create a steady demand for moringa seeds so the farmers in the poorest parts of the island could benefit from having access to a market, and also having a premium product they can sell in one of the worst lands, agriculturally speaking, around here. So there's a lot of potential to really help a lot of those communities, and that's the motivating factor behind the creation of all the products. It turns out that moringa oil and the other truly natural ingredients that we use actually have like nearly miraculous effects on the skin. And we had no idea why it was working. We just saw more and more different skin conditions and different concerns that people had about their skin that were just being alleviated by using these products. And so now we've been doing some of the research to find out kind of why it works, not only how it works and on what it works, but we're digging deep, and the deeper we dig, the more we realize there's so much more to learn. But in essence, the oil is very similar to the composition of the oil that our skin naturally has. And we have a layer of oil called the acid mantle, which keeps our skin slightly acidic, so that if pathogens make it through our skin, they encounter an alkaline environment and they die from the pH difference. So it's essential to keep this layer of oil on your skin as healthy as possible. And as we age, our skin becomes less and less oily due to blockages in the distribution channels between the digestion and the skin. From what I understood, if you eat a piece of salmon, the oils from that salmon take 3 days to make it to your skin. But using moringa oil, you supplement it directly, and it has a high percentage of vitamin E, which is an antioxidant that's extremely effective at killing free radicals. So we've
right.
already seen some nearly miraculous effects on the skin with conditions that some people would find very hard to believe. And I would love to get into some of our experiences. Like we literally saved a woman's leg one time from an amputation using a beeswax and moringa salve, basically with some turmeric. She's had this ulcer for so long that the doctors were going to amputate her leg. And with 30 days of using our cream, it totally sealed and healed. And we've tried it with more diabetics and with more people with ulcers, and it seals and heals their open wounds that were leaking all kinds of really nasty stuff. So if it works, on big conditions, to sell it as a beauty product is kind of easy, because at the end, health is beauty. Like where everyone's trying to look healthy when they put makeup on, or when they, it's supposed to somehow trigger the idea of a very healthy person, healthy skin. And so that's how I believe it works. Basically, it makes your skin cells as healthy as they can be, and that makes you look better. And, so that's why the products work. It's all moringa. We don't
And
have
so,
that
I mean,
much.
again, I think those are like incredible anecdotes that you share. And again, I want to, again, for the viewers that have just joined us, we are not like medical specialists. We're not doctors. We talk about firsthand direct experience, right? And having grown this plant or this tree for 6, 7 years, worked with it, processed it, and then in the case of Ben-Yam, actually having turned it into these products and applied them. So, by no means take this as, as the truth, but this is our experience. These are like the results that you had with this product. So could you go a little bit more into how you guys make the oil? Because there's many different ways to extract oil from seeds, but I know that only in certain ways it maintains the properties of the oil that we're looking for.
Absolutely. We use pharmaceutical grade stainless steel equipment to press the seeds on a low temperature to be able to produce the oil with the least amount of molecular change and highest integrity possible. We only press the seeds once, and we actually lose 30 or 40% of the oil we could be producing. Other companies use chemical solvents to extract the rest of the oil from the seeds and are able to produce moringa oil at a way better price than us. They're producing 40% more per pound than we do, but we noticed that the oil is significantly inferior. It's a lot more liquidy, and it doesn't seem to have the same nourishing effects as a first press, cold press extraction.
And so, guys, I apologize for the sound that you're probably hearing. There's some crazy alarms going off here. I think they're like disinfecting the streets or something. So they're just going around the block with alarms ringing. So sorry about
Put
that.
the mask on, Chris.
Yeah, the mask. No, we're good here. Like we're good. But well, you mean for the disinfectants? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's scary what they're spraying. Who knows?
Like, sometimes it's worth what they're spraying than what we're sharing. But
Honestly, I think
anyway,
it's
crazy.
lowering the immune of the microbiome in the area when they spray that stuff, but who knows?
Yeah, well, we're up against something pretty big, but yeah. So super interesting. So basically, what you're saying is you guys cold press the seeds, right? And because of that, all the properties we're looking for are maintained, basically. And other companies use chemical solvents and other ways to extract that might be more efficient, but that are, that basically damage like the oil and the properties that we're looking for.
The local way of producing moringa oil is actually throwing seeds in boiling water and scooping out the oil that floats to the top. However, it is a heat process and it's time consuming, energy consuming. And so people do it literally to help with asthma in the campo when there's nothing else and no hospitals or doctors around to help. And if you actually, something very interesting, the more you speak to people in the campo about moringa, the more they'll be able to tell you stories about eating it as a kid, having their mothers feed them the seeds in the morning. And there's a lot of urban legend and a lot of history on the island with this plant. This isn't something that just showed up. It's been here for 200 years before potentially even pharmaceuticals existed.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it's the same in Haiti and elsewhere in the world. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence that goes hundreds and even thousands of years back, literally, like to the ancient Egyptians. So it's pretty wild, and it's just incredible how we've gotten so disconnected from our environment, right? That this tree, which literally just grows almost everywhere around us, that we've forgotten about it, and in the meantime, it's literally like a local pharmacy almost, right? It's like there are people suffering from malnutrition or lack of nutrition in parts of Haiti, and that even in the DR as well. And they literally have this tree growing in their backyard, right next to their house.
Knowing about it is definitely a big problem, and not knowing the full extent of the benefits. But everybody here knows about the tea. So I don't know if you remember, but for a while, Moringa was on the radio here all the time. And there was 6 years ago, there was a huge boom about Moringa. And there was Moringa tea being sold on every corner of the whole island. And
I remember
just
that.
like that, it was gone.
Yeah, I remember that's interesting, and that was attributed to at the time Chavez and Fidel Castro, saying that they cured part of their cancer with.
It was Fidel, and Fidel was trying to convince all of South America to eat moringa, but he couldn't save his buddy Chavez.
Yeah, yeah. sadly, but yeah. So exactly, I do remember that. Like literally, and then all of a sudden, the few people that did recognize Moringa, that all the trees were stripped to the trunk, and people like the street vendors at the car selling bunches of the leaves. Yeah, amazing.
They were selling one moringa seed for 50 pesos at that time.
No,
And
that's
in
incredible.
Haiti, they were sweeping them up and burning them because they grow so easy. Nobody wanted a moringa forest in their backyards. But going back to what we started talking about with our project, now that we've been buying seeds for 6 years, every single tree in Ansapit at least, and in certain areas on the north coast where we buy our seeds from, every tree has a value and an owner, like coconut trees. There's no coconut tree here on the island that's not accounted for. There's somebody that takes control of those trees and the outcome of those trees. And I'm happy to say that now moringa trees, like we taught people that money grows on trees and that they should protect their moringa and grow more of it. We made a video with our friend Jazz a couple of years ago where we filmed literally a moringa field that was planted in Haiti as a byproduct of our business. Like we didn't ask anyone to plant it. We didn't get an NGO to fund it. It's a natural byproduct of people buying the oil. And for us being able to keep up with this sustainable business model.
You're absolutely right. There's no better incentive than having demand, right? It's any farmer, as long as there's demand, you know, like if you say like, hey, I'll buy whatever regenerative agricultural products or organic or whatever it is, if there's demand, they'll do it. It's just like if there's no demand, the risk is too big. But it's beautiful to see that it has worked out like that for you guys. Could you go a little bit more? So what specific products do you guys have? Like this, so there are oils, you guys have
Well,
soaps or creams, and what is the specific
produce.
use for the products?
Yeah, sure. We produce moringa oil as our base, and we mix it with therapeutic grade essential oils, which are steam distillations of different medicinal plants.
Right.
And this combination allows us to create different regenerating oils for the face, for the hair, for the body. And one of the most notable products that we have are our salves, which are creams basically that are made with beeswax. And the beeswax gives the moringa oil a cream consistency, and it also locks the properties onto the top layer of the skin.
Nice.
Doesn't just absorb directly like the oil. It's considered a dry oil, so you can put it on your skin without feeling oily. And a lot of people use it to get rid of expression lines. And every time I feel like I have some craters in my head, I can use some of it. But the explanation basically, you're rehydrating your skin, and our skin is waterproof. Our skin is oil based. So if your cosmetic products first ingredient is water, it's not going to penetrate your skin properly. For something to work on your skin, it has to actually work through layers of lipids, basically. So and this oil is, like I mentioned before, is very similar to the composition of the oil our skin naturally produces. So it's not like a foreign substance. Our bodies are able to absorb it and put it to use right away, like a food, like a supplement. It's incredible. I've seen on people with older skin that, you know, their skin is so dry and scaly that it looks like they have sand or salt stuck under skin, to the point of concern. Just using this oil like regenerates it back to looking like normal skin. And a friend of mine that uses the oil regularly for this condition says that at first he had to use it, you know, repetitively, and now he just needs to use it once a week because it seems to have kicked something back into action. So we're still figuring things out.
Yeah, but it is working, so that's the most important. It's amazing. We have a few people asking where can they get these products. I mean, I know you guys sell in places like Fresh. Do you have other stores? Can people buy it online or other points?
Absolutely. Right now we're offering free shipping and delivery to anybody in the Cabarete Sosua area. In Santo Domingo, we do have some inventory, but with the lockdown, it's kind of difficult to coordinate deliveries. We're going to try to figure something out because people still need access to these natural skincare products, and we make different teas. Especially now, we've been making a guanabana moringa ginger tea that has lots of promising potential. I will be sending more links and different offers that we have, and if anybody needs anything, they can get in touch with us, and we'll try to find a way. We're kind of limited worldwide, but online.
Yeah. Yeah, right now it's tough, and otherwise I know that you guys sell in some shops here in Santo Domingo. You guys are based at the North Coast, of course. But again, right now with the situation with the coronavirus, everything is a little bit out of the ordinary, obviously.
But we normally sell in a lot of the different resorts in Punta Cana. Like, we normally have a lot of access to our products on the market. It just right now it's all locked up. Like, we have a lot of inventory in our warehouse, and we would love to find a way to get it to everybody. But time will tell how that's going to happen.
Right. What is, in terms of what is next? What do you guys have in the pipeline? Any new Moringa-related projects, or with Moringaia, or anything else that you're working on?
Absolutely. Well, just on the shorter term, we donated more than 100 soaps to the communities in the Callejon through the Dream Project to try to help keep everyone's hands a little cleaner. We do hope to do more social projects that could help the community with things we learned how to do. And we are actually coming up soon with really, really fancy packaging. It's going to look really nice. And we're going to have beautiful new boxes and beautiful new labels. And the idea is to take the brand internationally and really focus on the online market, especially since everyone's at home. They still need to take care of their skin. They still need to take part of an healthy lifestyle.
Right.
Now more than ever, you got to protect your acid mantle, that layer of oil on your skin that protects you from pathogens.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw another question just now that someone asked if we were exporting, or you're exporting to Europe, but I don't think that's the case yet then, right? This is something that's in the pipeline.
We export on a small amount through Impostdom, but we don't have a warehouse there with inventory. Like, it's still gonna take some more partnerships and some more connections, but I honestly believe this could be a worldwide type of product.
Right. Awesome. All right. So I don't know if there's anything else Moringa related you want to share. I don't know if there's any questions. I think we've answered most of the questions, or the questions that I saw in the feed. Anything from your side, Ben?
Well, I highly encourage everybody look into the Moringa seeds versus asthma study, and that if you can find Moringa seeds in your area, to start saving them, because you'll never know when you might need them, either to grow moringa in your property and eat fresh food, or also to use the seeds as a potential breathing aid. So moringa to the rescue, moringa power.
Moringa power. I completely agree, man. I totally support. And so in the article, we'll put up like a photo, etc., so people have an idea how to find the tree, how to recognize it, how to collect the seeds. Pretty straightforward. And I completely agree with you. We should start collecting those seeds and planting them, especially over here in the tropics where we are, Dominican Republic, Haiti. It's extremely easy to grow. So, well, listen, to wrap things up, Ben, in general, outside of the Moringa business, and I know you have this incredible farm that you're growing amazing exotic fruit trees on as well. If you could tell people, the viewers, one thing, like one piece of practical advice in terms of how they can move towards a more kind of healthy, sustainable lifestyle, Moringa related or not, what would the advice be?
Don't be afraid of sticking seeds in the ground or throwing them around in your yard, because those seeds have an intelligence and they know what they're doing. And when you're sprouting seeds, there's not much that you're doing. It's the seeds doing all the work. So we live in a miraculous world, and we have to be a part of the magic of staying alive, and taking care of your garden takes care of you. So start doing it.
Couldn't agree more, man. I love it. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday, right? Or even longer ago, probably. And it's completely, as you said, yesterday I was talking with Jay Keel about this, with the worm compost, and and just the systems that, just observing how they work, the worms, there's no waste in nature. The self-regulation of the worms, like they won't overeat, and once there's no more food, they'll stop reproducing. Nature has all these incredible, elegant solutions, right? Nothing goes to waste. Everything is extremely efficient. And it's the same with the seeds. Like we have all these ways to, of course, like to plant things in our way, but really in nature, most of it's just dropped, by birds that are pooping, or, other animals that carry the seeds and then it falls off the fur or whatever. And so I completely agree.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize is how much food from the supermarket you can buy, stick in the ground, and then you have a fresh source of that food. A lot of herbs like mint, you can literally buy the mint in those packs, stick them in your soil and water them properly, and you'll have a batch of mint. Every time you eat a fruit that's delicious, you can scoop the seeds out and grow more of it, and actually be a producer of that fruit instead of depending on the mechanisms of the industrial complex that is maintaining this world on lockdown.
Yeah, completely, and it's nice that you bring that up, because on Saturday we're gonna be having a talk about urban agriculture with Marvin from La Huertica Urbana. It's gonna be in Spanish, that one, and so obviously we're gonna be talking about different techniques, how to grow food in the city, etc. And that's definitely gonna be one of them, right? It's completely is what you're saying, and that will probably be the challenge that we'll put up as well, for people to just start growing, and it's really not that hard. Sometimes I've bought cilantro in the supermarket that had the root on it, and you may have to put it in water for a day or two, or give it a little bit of help, but after that, nature takes care of itself, right? So on top of that, a little plug from our side, with Una Vaina Verde, we're offering a host of courses. Normally those are either here at headquarters or at location. Courses related to sustainability in general, sustainability 101, how to grow food in the city, how to make compost. We're going to be, given the situation that we're in right now, we're going to be hosting these courses virtually. We're going to announce new dates very, very soon. So for those that are interested in that, I totally recommend going to our website, unavainaverde.com, and sign up for our newsletter, and kind of stay in touch about the new dates that are coming up with these workshops that we will be doing, and which will include how to grow food. And we'll be talking about moringa and other ways how to propagate plants, how to take care of plants, how to make the good soil mix, and all of that. And for those that are interested in Ben-Yam's work, where can people follow you? Of course, there's Moringaia, and where else?
Well, on Instagram, you can find my work as PlantmanDR, and I'm also starting to make a lot of content about how to grow almost anything. You and I have been working on this for more than 6 years, but this information has to come out. Everyone should be doing what they can, and it's really not that difficult, especially here in the tropics. We have all the conditions kind of given to us. It would be much harder to do somewhere that freezes over winter. I don't know how people can survive up there. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. Again, people just get started, start planting, start experimenting, especially with a plant like moringa. It's incredible. Once you find the seed or even the cutting, just plant it, and it will just take off. It's incredibly rewarding. It's like once you get started and something doesn't work, it's always a bit discouraging. With moringa, it's a very forgiving plant, and
almost too easy, and it's almost too good to be true, but it is. True.
Yeah, it is. This is why it's called the miracle tree. I know it sounds a little bit like, airy-fairy, but it really is a miraculous tree. And once you start reading into it, which I do recommend, look it up, look up your information about moringa, and be amazed.
If people go to pubmed.com and type in moringa, and they can understand a little bit of the language that's used, we're really just scratching the surface of all the potential and all the benefits that this plant can bring. So I encourage everyone to do a bit of research. And if there's anybody here that's, knows a little bit about the, medicine and the whole world of pharmacology, I think they might find an incredible resource with moringa, considering it's something that can grow in their backyard and it's readily available. And it's not something we have to import. It's already here. It's waiting.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And I think that can be our reto. Every day at the end of these live sessions, we have a little reto, a challenge for the viewers and the people also that, that are part of our community. And ideally, our challenge would have been go out and find a moringa tree and get the seed and plant it. For those that are flexible and that do occasionally still go out. I mean, I have dogs. I walk my dogs out in the street, and I highly recommend do it. Plant those seeds, take care of them, and be rewarded. Honestly, but for those that can't leave the house, I highly recommend. Go do some research and share with us your favorite Moringa superpowers. Whatever incredible property you can find, share it with us, share it with the community so other people know about this incredible plant, an incredible tree and its amazing properties, especially given that it's growing everywhere. And in this kind of situation that we're in right now with a virus that's keeping the entire world population at home, I think it's a big reminder of the importance of us becoming more self-sufficient, and working with nature and everything that we have at our disposal close to us, and starting to grow our own food, our own medicine. And I think there's no better starting point than Moringa. So that will be the challenge, guys. Remember, go check out our website, sign up for the newsletter, unavainaverde.com, and spread the word about this live session. I think we'll call it a day. Thank you, Ben-Yam, for sharing your
Thanks, everyone,
for
joining. It was amazing, and I hope there'll be more to share soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for the community, we'll be here every day, 5 p.m. Check in. Tomorrow we have a really interesting talk about sustainable bartending, coctelería sostenible. We're going to be talking with Carlitos Bar, an incredible guy. And later on this weekend, we have a session on urban agriculture on Saturday with La Huertica Urbana. And on Sunday, we'll have a talk about foods that will boost your immune system. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing, and stay tuned. We're looking forward to keep sharing more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.